Catastrophic Christmas for parts of California.
There was a river running through our property.
The unrelenting rain, dramatic rescues, and what's in the forecast. Also on this Thursday night, an Edmonton family's anguish.
We need justice for him.
The father who died at a hospital waiting hours to see a doctor. New police raids in Mexico linked to Canadian fugitive Brian Wedding. What was seized? Plus, trade talk troubles.
They have violated USMCA.
The Prime Minister's huge task in the new year.
Global National with Dawna Friesen. Reporting tonight, Sean O'Shea.
Good evening and Merry Christmas. The powerful and dangerous storm that's inundated California has now killed at least 2 people.
The city said that they wouldn't change it.
Record torrential rain has triggered raging floodwaters and mudslides. Millions are under states of emergency tonight. Neetu Garcha reports on the rescues, the area dealing with the disaster once again, nearly a year after a destructive wildfire, and whether any relief is in sight.
On Christmas Day, this is the scene in the mountain town of Wrightwood in Southern California. Relentless rain saturated the ground, sending debris flows across roads and into residential areas. The only major route in and out of the community was cut off on Christmas Eve. With evacuation still in place, crews are now working to assess the damage. In other parts of San Bernardino County, rescuers have used helicopters to airlift residents to safety above submerged streets.
We walked as far as we could without getting swept up in the water and saw that there were people, that my neighbors that were on top of their roof, 3 people on top of the roof, just sitting there and waiting. We weren't expecting to spend Christmas stuck at the house with limited utilities.
Farther north, emergency crews are preparing for water rescues through the weekend as rivers and creeks swell.
So my biggest piece of advice to everybody out there is if you see a road closed sign or a flooded roadway, do not cross it and remember to turn around and not drown.
For some drivers, escaping the floodwaters meant leaving everything behind.
Water was way too high, so it was even dangerous for us to get out of the Jeep and try to hook up the Jeep. So, like last resort was just to abandon it and, save ourselves.
Fire officials say they're also watching for landslides near recent burn scars where soil stripped by wildfires can quickly fail under heavy rain. The storm left thousands of customers without power, and meteorologists say the deadly system will pose flood risks into the coming days. For many Californians, this Christmas will be remembered not for how it was spent, but for what was lost. Neetu Garcha, Global News, Vancouver.
And there's a completely different kind of extreme weather in Yukon, where a deep freeze is gripping tens of thousands of people. Environment Canada is warning of wind chill values as low as minus 55 degrees tonight. Conditions are expected to improve going into the weekend. Many people are celebrating the holidays with loved ones, but one Edmonton family is in mourning tonight. Prashant Sreekumar went to the hospital on Monday in excruciating pain. He waited hours for medical attention, only to die before he ever saw a doctor. As Sarah Komadina reports, his devastated family is demanding answers.
It was a moment Kumar Sreekumar didn't ever want to live to see.
He got up, put his hand on his chest, and just crashed. That moment he died.
Monday, his 44-year-old son Prashant Sreekumar went to emergency at Grey Nuns Hospital with extreme chest pains.
He saw me, he got up, Papa, I cannot bear the pain.
He waited for hours. The nurses did an ECG to check his heart and said there was nothing of significance. As time went by, nurses also did blood pressure checks.
Went up, and up. For me, it was above the roof.
After what the family says was more than 8 hours, Prashant was finally called into a triage area. But soon after, he suffered from an apparent cardiac arrest. Nurses called for help, but Prashant had died.
He was such a nice kid. He was all for the family, all for his kids.
He leaves behind his wife and 3 children. His loved ones want answers.
We need justice for him, and this is something we need to raise our voice on so that the next person who walks in can be protected.
And we expect better from our healthcare system and hospitals.
Covenant Health said that they will not be commenting on the specifics of a patient's care because of privacy. But they did confirm that this case is now with the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. They went on to say, quote, "We offer our sympathy to the patient's family and friends. There is nothing more important than the safety and care of our patients and staff."
You guys remember this one?
As family try to remember Prashant for all the good he brought them, they say they'll always be haunted by how he died in pain in a hospital without ever seeing a doctor.
They took my baby for nothing, you know, for nothing. I'm so sorry.
Sarah Komadina, Global News.
A Saskatchewan judge has dismissed a lawsuit from families of the deadly Humboldt Broncos bus crash back in 2018. In his decision last week, the judge said the family's allegations that the province knew the intersection was unsafe but did nothing to fix it lack merit and are doomed to fail. 16 people were killed and 13 others injured when a rookie trucker ignored a stop sign and struck the junior hockey team's bus. The truck driver was sentenced to 8 years in prison and was ordered to be deported back to India. Mexican authorities say they've seized drugs and luxury goods after raiding 4 properties across the country, with local media linking the case to former Canadian Olympic athlete Ryan Wedding. The FBI alleges the Thunder Bay native is a drug kingpin and is hiding somewhere in Mexico. It has a $15 million bounty out for his arrest. Mexican authorities say they seized meth, marijuana, 62 high-end motorcycles, vehicles, art, and 2 Olympic medals, but it's not clear who they belong to. Wedding never won an Olympic medal. American President Donald Trump says he ordered a military airstrike on what he called Islamic State terrorists in northwest Nigeria, a group he accused of persecuting Christians in the African country. Nigeria is officially secular. On Truth Social, Trump posted late today, "I have personally warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there would be hell to pay, and tonight there was." The U.S. military's Africa Command said on X it acted at the direction of Trump and the Defense Secretary, and in coordination with Nigerian authorities, U.S. Africa Command conducted strikes against ISIS terrorists in Nigeria. The military said it killed multiple ISIS militants. In October, Trump warned that Christianity faced an existential threat in Nigeria. In Turkey, authorities have detained 115 suspected members of the so-called Islamic State. Officials allege the suspects were plotting to carry out attacks on Christmas and New Year celebrations in Turkey against non-Muslims in particular. Police conducted more than 120 raids across Istanbul. Firearms, ammunition, and organizational documents were seized. Authorities say they're still working to find another 22 suspects. Prime Minister Mark Carney has been on the job for less than a year, but he's already been on a roller coaster of internal and external challenges, the biggest of them being a trade war with the American president. Global National's Dawna Friesen sat down with Carney to ask about his plans for 2026, which Mackenzie Gray has a preview of from Ottawa. Mackenzie.
The biggest challenge Mark Carney will face in 2026, Sean, is renegotiating the Canada-US-Mexico free trade deal, an agreement the Prime Minister believes the Americans are currently breaking.
They have violated USMCA. We had certain protocols, side letters, agreements around the steel sector, around the auto sector and others, and what the U.S. has done in terms of those tariffs is not consistent with USMCA.
Those tariffs have been crushing certain Canadian sectors and have increased in Carney's time in office, despite removing counter tariffs which the U.S. had complained violated the free trade deal.
Canada has decided that, that's fair game. We will, call into question CUSMA. Again, that is a Canadian decision. You can do that.
The Prime Minister said he was close to rectifying some of those issues,
promoting fair and free competition,
until the controversy surrounding the Ontario government's anti-tariff ad killed the deal.
We made progress on some so-called sectoral deals in steel, aluminum, energy elsewhere. That got knocked sideways. We all know the story behind that. And now it makes sense that everything's going to come into this broader negotiation.
Those free trade negotiations start in early January with the U.S., with the Prime Minister telling Global National anchor and chief editor Dawna Friesen his approach to the Trump administration has helped get conservatives to cross the floor.
And if other MPs and other parties like that and want to come to you, you're open.
We're open. We're looking for that support because the country needs to move forward, yes.
Well, Carney said he's looking. He's also said the two Conservative floor crossers have approached them about joining the Liberals.
It sends a signal to me that
the Conservative leader putting the blame on Carney for losing two of his MPs.
He has been trying to orchestrate and manipulate a majority that Canadians denied him with dirty backroom and costly deals.
Finding another Conservative floor crosser would be the gift that Carney wants this Christmas, Sean, with the Liberals one MP short of getting a majority without needing to go to the polls.
Mackenzie Gray in Ottawa, thanks. And you can watch Dawna's full conversation with the Prime Minister next at 6, right after Global National, or stream it later tonight on our website, globalnews.ca. Lessons learned coming up. How Newfoundland and Labrador's historic wildfire season is preparing the province for the future. This past summer marked one of the most destructive wildfire seasons Newfoundland and Labrador has seen in years. Dry conditions fueled fires across the province, including the Kingston wildfire in Conception Bay North, which left lasting damage. Now, as communities recover and governments review what went wrong, Heidi Petrachik looks back at the impact and the lessons shaping the next wildfire season.
The provincial government has called it unprecedented. The 2025 wildfire season rattled residents of Newfoundland and Labrador.
It's the waiting and the not knowing what's going to happen.
We are in the process of issuing an additional evacuation alert.
This wildfire close to St. John's put 20,000 people on alert in August, as another an hour away was already devastating communities in Conception Bay North. What became known as the Kingston wildfire forced more than 2,000 people from their homes.
I close my eyes and all I see is flames.
Despite the serious nature of what's happening, we are continuing to see reports of people setting fires.
The province instituted burn bans, ordered ATVs off trails, and jacked up fines for violations.
Troubled and frustrated that this is reckless and irresponsible behavior.
The St. John's area fire took 11 days to put out. The Kingston fire wasn't extinguished for a month. By the time residents of Conception Bay North were allowed to return, the fire had torched more than 10,000 hectares and destroyed almost 200 buildings. Those who came back knew the area would never be the same.
Just people that they're not going to rebuild, just people that have moved already.
Because, of course, everyone was affected in some way, shape, or form, some more than others. But this is a new territory for all of us, right?
Now that the wildfire season is over, provincial officials are taking stock of what happened and lessons learned.
We are repairing our 5th water bomber. It brings our fleet to 5 as well. There's an investment being discussed in what we call a bird dog, 2 bird dog aircraft.
But the province's director of wildfire management says water bombers and bird dogs are just a start. The kind of prolonged firefight Newfoundland and Labrador experienced of a fire so intense also takes a lot of trained boots on the ground.
We're looking to hire additional wildland firefighters. We've increased our training. You need to do the tabletop exercises to run through the process to really get your feet underneath you so that when the time comes, you're not scrambling to get organized.
The province tallied 249 wildfires in 2025, more than double its 10-year average, a year officials and residents won't forget. Heidi Petrachik, Global News, Halifax.
A jaw-dropping Christmas Eve lottery jackpot. Ahead, the gigantic payoff in the Powerball. Someone in Arkansas is having an amazing Christmas after winning, get this, a life-changing $1.8 billion US in the American Powerball lottery. That's roughly $2.5 billion Canadian. It's the second largest lottery jackpot in U.S. history. The winner can have that money paid out over 29 years or take a lump sum now of a paltry $835 million US. The federal Liberals won a minority government again this past spring, meaning the possibility of yet another election still hovers over Canadians. While nothing is certain as of yet around the world, there are other significant elections on the calendar in 2026. Redmond Shannon looks at who will be heading to the polls and what's at stake.
After the security failures of the October 7th attacks,
and the 2-year war in Gaza, there has been intense global scrutiny on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his right-wing coalition.
I think he's been creating a very strong narrative of having led a victorious war, casting a very doubtful light on all the opposition leaders that they could handle the same challenges successfully.
Street protests against Netanyahu have focused on the war and on his controversial judicial reforms, all as he faces allegations of corruption in a trial now in its 6th year. Opposition parties have yet to agree on a strategy to depose Israel's longest-serving prime minister.
If they're able to unite under the leadership of one figurehead, then I think by all existing polls, and I think it's quite likely that they would be able to emerge as the largest party.
Another leader looking to stretch out a long career in 2026 is 80-year-old Brazilian President Lula da Silva.
A lot of Brazilians feel like even though he's very strong and they like him, it might be time for a new candidate on the left showing up.
With former President Jair Bolsonaro now in jail for plotting a coup, his son Flavio is vying to capture conservative votes in the fall.
A lot of the establishment wants a little bit more of a quiet, stable government, and I don't see them necessarily wanting to go running back to the Bolsonaro family.
El principal problema en Colombia.
In neighboring Colombia, this year's assassination of potential right-wing candidate Miguel Uribe Turbay threatened a return to the country's darkest days. Its first leftist president, the eccentric Gustavo Petro, cannot run again next year. His war of words with Washington may push some voters to return to the right.
A lot of people see the United States as the greatest ally of the country, and they really don't want to follow this line of confrontation, which they feel is going to be bad for the economy.
Also unafraid of confrontation with traditional allies is Hungary's Viktor Orban.
Brussels is a symbol of a political danger for a country like we are from Central Europe.
But a new pact among opposition parties could mean his long tenure will end in 2026. Other votes to watch will be Bangladesh's first election since Sheikh Hasina was ousted in student-led protests, and the US midterms, often seen as a barometer of a presidency. Redmond Shannon, Global News, London.
Nothing but gratitude next. Our annual salute to the Global News team. It's time for a Christmas Day tradition here at Global National when we honor the small and mighty village working 24/7 to put on this very newscast, the West Block, and our network news coverage. And of course, we want to take a moment to thank you as well, our loyal viewers, for tuning in night after night to make Global National the most watched national newscast in Canada. I'm Sean O'Shea. On behalf of Dawna and the entire Global News team, thank you for your trust. Have a very Merry Christmas. Hope you'll join us again tomorrow. Enjoy your night.